Yo, yo, yo. What's up, my friends? What's going on? What's up, Popcorn Pro? Anthony, Junie, Timatism, Art Nerd, Cindy, Noxel, the usual suspects. It is Friday, which means we're doing Feedback Fridays. Let's go. What's up, Hex Benjamin? Yeah, so hopefully you guys got some tunes that you want to share. I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Popcorn, what's up? You had a question for me? What's up, Sharks? Good to see you here. Hope you're doing well. Did I miss the question? Did you know your song was licensed in Forza Horizon 6? Yes. And did you know it was for Forza Horizon? Yeah. No, I knew ahead of time. I mean, you're not really allowed to. I mean, you can break the law and use intellectual property however you want, but then chances are it's cheaper for you to just play by the rules and just pay for a license. So that's what's called a sync license, and they're just great opportunities for artists to get their music placed in TV shows, video games, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know if there was an NDA involved, but I mean, regardless, it's not really good business to like divulge a bunch of details about how it came about or what the terms are and stuff. But either way, I mean, it's just a cool opportunity, and yeah, I knew about it ahead of time. Yeah, kind of cool that they have supported me 10 years later with another license for a newer track. But either way, what y'all got cooking? I hope that we got some cool tunes to listen to today. If you want to share anything you got, just type !join. Looks like we already have a few people. Let's go. I'm gonna be here for like 3 hours today, so plenty of time to get through a bunch of music. Who's the first winner? Let's see. What's up, Nutter Tools? Also, just a heads up for those of you that aren't familiar with the way that I tend to do Feedback Fridays. For the time being, I do everything completely random. There's no weighted, there's nothing that weighs your chances differently than anyone else's in the process. We'll figure out a better system in the future where if you've been around for a certain amount of time, it'll weigh your entry a little bit heavier, because I don't like it when people, they want to share something and then they sit around for a couple hours just to not end up getting chosen at all, and that doesn't feel good. So but anyways, Nutter, if you got something for us, now is your time to shine. Otherwise we'll have to skip you, my friend. Awesome, we got something. First track of the day. Let's see what we got. All right, so this is Vayhem Final. Make sure you guys can hear this. Okay, we're good. Okay. Thank you, Nutter. Appreciate it. It's got a nice atmosphere. I like that string instrument. What the hell? What kind of command is exclamation mark V? Cool. I like that string instrument. Also, I'm sorry about clearing my throat constantly. It is cold as hell here right now. It's like -15 outside, and the air has been absolutely annihilating my lungs. You take like one breath and you have to cough. Obviously, I'm not outside right now, but anyways, that's a really cool tune. Thanks for sharing. I like the vibe. It feels yeah, like a kind of like a metal, a mellow, kind of like Middle Eastern influenced house track, kind of. And I like it. I think in general, the arrangement is great. Composition is good. The mix felt pretty good. I'd say there's, if I were to kind of choose one particular area where you could maybe improve things the most for this track, it would probably be in the mix. There's just a few little things that like here, I'll give you an example. I like the shaker here. Relatively speaking, feels a bit loud. I think, composition-wise, like writing-wise, there are quite a lot of elements happening here, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It feels like, it definitely feels like a unique kind of approach to a house kind of vibe, and I appreciate that. And it's nice. It feels very like it's something I could totally see myself enjoying, like if it popped up on my Spotify weekly or something like that. But yeah, I just think there's little tweaks, like for example that shaker that's a bit too loud, little things like that could help. And then maybe also it's possible that maybe there are some sections where there's a tiny bit too much going on. Like those little piano octaves in the upper register, like that kind of stuff. It's nice, but basically, this is obviously a climactic moment, right? And a lot of times in electronic music, when you are, reaching a drop or just something important, it tends to be, the approach tends to be like simplify and I don't know, just make it really simple for people to digest it and to be able to like hum it back. And you certainly have that to a degree here. Like that little string thing is really cool. But I personally think that little piano thing is detracting a little bit from that. It happens a little bit too soon. I think it's okay to bring it in maybe a little bit later. But we're basically just starting to get we're just being introduced to this string melody, and that's obviously the star of that moment. So it'd be nice to have it, give it like a little bit more breathing room. This track, very nice vibe. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, what's up, Rafa? I was just working on those recordings today. It's sounding really great. So thanks again. Anyways, let's roll on to the next person. I want to make sure to try to get through everyone today, especially our special guest Sharks. Hopefully he didn't leave. What's up, Full God? Best part of Feedback Fridays is Haywyre getting into it. I think there are times where, me improvising on piano contributes something. Sometimes it's not the move. We'll see. All right. This has no name yet. vibe. I like it. Good tune. I do have some thoughts on a few little things. I think in general, I really enjoy what you built here. It feels like it starts losing a little bit of steam. You know, at one point the track is developing, and it kind of feels like. Take it with a grain of salt, but I kind of felt like some kind of vocal, maybe like a Rufus Du Sol type thing, would fit really nicely in here. But even without a vocal, I think there's room for some kind of some bigger melodic element. And I don't mean just throw like a screeching lead on top somewhere. Like obviously, it doesn't have to be something really intense, but it doesn't feel like there's a melodic motif, like a substantial melodic motif to really latch onto. The beginning is cool. I like that weird little synth sample type thing that you got going on. That's cool. I do like that, even if the noise is maybe a little bit much on that C sharp. So one thought I had as well is that there's a so once the chord progression pops in here, right, you have that kind of like low distorted sine wave kind of just thumping a little bit, right, and then it starts revealing the chord progression, and that upper note is starting to change, which is cool. I like that. But I had a suggestion in terms of which notes you're choosing there, because basically what you're doing right now is you have the B flat and the D flat. And then it goes FF. And then it goes D flat, D flat. And I kind of thought, like, I liked the third thing where you have, you know, the root note and then a minor third. I thought it'd be cool if you continue that pattern. So like maybe you go minor third here, and then major third there, and then major third there. And you never really reveal, from what I can tell, what kind of chord that F is, if it's major, minor, or what. But all you hear is kind of like that movement, which is cool. But yeah, I don't know. There's like a thought that popped into my mind. It's like maybe you could kind of continue that pattern of the thirds, even if it's minor. But yeah, beautiful chords, and it's really easy to come up with a melody to throw up on top of that. So, like, let's go back to this like drum section, right? I I don't know. I'm not coming up with anything great right now, but you get the idea. It's like there's totally room at some point for there to be a bit of a stronger motif there. So yeah, other than that, I think there's some little mixed things, tiny stuff that could maybe be improved. Some things that I noticed some resonance, like peaks in certain areas that I wasn't too crazy about. But in general, the whole thing is great, and you can keep it instrumental as is, and it's a vibe. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for sharing. It's a really cool track. I enjoyed jamming on it. Let's go to the next person. What's up, Hottie? How's it going, man? Did he just join? He did. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll give Hottie a second here. We may have caught him off guard. Yeah, for sure. No worries. In fact, why don't we could potentially roll to someone else for a moment and then come back to you, Hottie. Not that I'm like in a huge rush or anything, but while you're uploading, let's give someone else a chance as well. What's up, Brainio? I got you. Thanks. I understand that there's still a lot of space for other instruments. I'll try on the weekends. Yeah, I mean, again, no pressure. You know, sometimes certain ideas aren't meant to have, you know, some big thing that draws your attention to it, whether that's a vocal, a melody, or, you know. So I love instrumental music a lot, and I'm just a sucker for melodies. You know, I like good melodies. But all right, this is "I'll Carry You" by God's Warrior. Nice chords. I think this is my favorite track you've submitted on my stream so far. Lots of good stuff happening here. I like the chord voicings a lot. I think the production is great. I really only have a few small things that came to my mind. But yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, like I said, arrangement, production, everything's sounding really good. It's really tight. So let me dig into a couple of random thoughts that I had. One, I thought it was interesting that you chose to bring in those vocal samples only in the second half. I feel like, I don't know. I think you're treating the vocal as kind of like this way to create variation for the song, to add a little extra flair to it and make sure that it doesn't get stale. And I think it's a good idea to do that. I almost feel that vocals, though, are, if you're gonna have them, I think it's probably better to have some in the beginning as well, though. I think you're better off probably finding a different way to create variation in the second half than a vocal, because I think that it would be nice to have some of those vocal chops in the beginning as well. That's just my personal preference. I don't know if I can articulate that any better than that. I just feel like vocals are something that are, they draw a lot of attention. So in my mind, it almost feels like, it is creating great variation for the second half. I just think it's better to potentially consider a different element for that variation and have the vocal just be like a part of the song as a whole. The vocal chops, but either way, that's just something small that came to my mind. I really like the track. It's not really like the style of drum and bass. I don't listen to tons of drum and bass. It's not really like the style that I necessarily like listen to a lot, but I really like it. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, it's So I do, listening to it again, I do have some things for you to consider as well. I think the voice leading in this distorted vocal chop thing here feels a little bit better than the melody you have in the beginning of your first drop here. So let me try to find the right marker here. Right. I actually can't tell if maybe that's not a distorted vocal. Maybe it's just a synth. But either way, I think that voice leading works a little bit better than what you have here in the beginning. And part of it is because I think when you have these kind of like sus chords and cluster chords and things like that, when they're being distorted really heavily, the harmonics start getting more and more confusing to hear. Because they start like conflicting more and more. And I don't know, I might be just making shit up, but like that's why I feel like it's easier to stick to notes that kind of like more naturally fit in the the harmonics that are being generated, like all those like overtones and stuff. So when you have like this G major, it makes sense to me. that the D would sound a little bit better than like the A, just because of all the crazy overtones that are being created in the different harmonics. But either way, it's kind of a small thing. It obviously sounds great regardless. So I'm not saying like this is a huge issue, but just some like food for thought. Oh yeah, wait, this sound design here is really sick. I like this a lot. To be honest, if I'm gonna, like, you kind of have 3 different melodies back to back in this drop, right? So you start with the A. And it goes to D. Right. There's a third melody here now. This one I think is the home run version. If I were to choose one of these to kind of like focus on the most, as like your kind of like primary drop, the thing that I think is most memorable and is just the catchiest, in my opinion, it's this version here. But I don't know if it works arrangement-wise to, like, you know, I'm not saying like just copy paste that to the beginning and be the first drop there. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if I were to choose one of these that I like the most, it's probably that one. So that's kind of like the only other thing is like there's a lot of stuff going on melodically, which is funny because I was literally just telling the last person like, hey, you know, it would be nice to have some more melodies to kind of like latch onto. I almost feel like maybe you have the opposite issue here. You have so many melodies. It's a little bit like, well, which one do I remember, right? When there's this many things being thrown at you. And it's not to say that that's, again, it's not a huge issue. At the end of the day, obviously people are going to like enjoy it and remember like this track regardless. It's great. But I would try to find a way to structure it just a little bit more based around that, like a specific main melody versus like cycling through multiple ones. And then the last thing I'll say is it'd be really nice to have maybe just 1-2 measures of like a gentle sound here in the outro, playing those chords again, like maybe that synth. Just playing the chords one more time or something. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I got, man. Really great tune, and like I said, I think this is my favorite of your submissions. So it's both synth and vocal. Okay, cool. Word. Well, thanks for sharing. All right, let's roll on to the next person. Oh wait. Hottie, did I potentially miss a link from Hottie? Did you have something for us? I'm just gonna wait a second for Hottie. You got it? Sick. Feel free to share it. Good to see you, Chairbor. I agree, that mix was sounding very clean. All right, let's check this out. Tell the Mountains by Hottie.
I know you want me to stay, but I don't know how. I know you want me to wait, but I've let you go. Close your eyes and hide in echo.
really good vocals, I think, on this one. Nice. Really cool. Yeah, I think this is some of your best vocal work, I would say. There's some moments where I think, similar to some other songs, this is really sparse in this track, but I think there's some small moments where the autotune is kind of like kicking in a little too much. I think maybe we've already had conversations about around this. I like using autotune as like a general guide, but when it comes down to like the nitty gritty, especially if you have a super vocal forward track like this, obviously something like Melodyne, you can't really beat it, because it's like, you know, if you really need really specific detailed edits to vocals, that's the way to go. But that being said, that's just a random thing. But either way, I really love the vocals. I think that you've got a great voice, man. I think that everything, like the arrangement, the writing is cool. It's interesting to me that you chose to. It's not really like a key change. It kind of is, but you start with the A minor. So then it's interesting to hear the drop going, starting with that E major. It's a really cool choice, and I think that if there's anything that I appreciate a lot in, like, you know, electronic music writing, for sure, like, sound design is awesome, but like, I love it when, you know, people take like more compositional risks in, you know, electronic music, because it's a genre that often is quite stale compositionally, and it is so almost by nature, because, like, you know, dance floor music often can't be too complex, like writing wise and rhythmically, unless you're phonon and create polyrhythmic rhythm. But you get my point. Obviously, this isn't really EDM. I think you're maybe drawing a little bit of influence from electronic music, though. And, you know, I can't help but want to feel... That being said, I can't help but want to feel like more impact in this section here. I think it does work really great as like a storytelling, as part of the storytelling for this piece. Like it's great, and the writing works. But I'd love to... I don't know if you listen to much drum and bass. I don't really either, but like, I almost wanted to hear something like Camo and Crooked, like their kind of style of drum and bass, having some kind of influence in this section here. That I just think it'd be so cool. I hear some Reese's and stuff in the background. I think the drums are a little too gentle for my taste. Like, I would want them to, like, you know, hit a little bit harder. Like, give me a snare with like a nice, like a little bit of a thicker, kind of like a fundamental and a nice transient. And I think that the high-pitched jungly almost kind of kit is not quite doing it for me, mostly because there's so much energy in your vocals.
I've let you go. Close your eyes and
I just feel like that there's so much tension, and it does carry over into that section. I just wish there was a little more like oomph to it. So that's really my biggest critique, and it's obviously a personal preference, as all feedback will be, I guess, at the end of the day. There's no such thing as subjective feedback. But yeah, really love the tune, man. I don't have anything else to add besides that. Like I said, I think it's some of your best vocal work, so really cool. I don't know if you use Discord or anything, but you should definitely let the chat know if you end up releasing this. Are you releasing the tunes that you're sharing with us? I think you've shared quite a few songs over the months, so curious about that. But Do you think it's a mixing thing? To a degree, it's less about mixing, I think, and a little bit more about sound selection, I think. But again, don't take my word as a requirement for you to move forward with this. I was just thinking, like, as somebody that has spent a lot of time listening to electronic music, I just wish that a part of me did wish to hear something with a little more weight to it, a little more like energy. And I think Camo and Crooked are a good reference in my mind for that kind of stuff. But you're in the packaging phase. We'll release soon. Sick. Cool, man. All right. Well, thanks for sharing. Let's move on. What's up, Virtual Snow? What you got for us? A demo of my track I'm working on. I needs vocals for the verse section. Sending me a link in a minute. Cool. Also, I appreciate you guys starting to get. Most people are like really on top of the link sharing these days. I love it. Oh yeah, Mefjus is a good one, definitely. Although Mefjus might almost be like, I know that Mefjus and Camo and Crooked are like kind of in the same space. Some of Mefjus' stuff is a bit too heavier than what I was imagining. But definitely, like, obviously just a crazy talented producer. So good reference regardless. Actually, yes, Imanu. Thanks for mentioning those sharks. Imanu would be an interesting reference because he's got some experimental like electronic music with vocals. So from that standpoint, really creative sound design, really great energy and writing. So that could be a great reference for you, Hottie. All right, let's check this out. Just out of curiosity, this is your first vocal track, so you mind sharing with us where you got the vocals from? like it. Cool. Cool. I like the track a lot. I feel like everyone that's a regular here is sharing some of their best work today, which is making me really happy. I like hearing like gentle. What's the style called? There's a name for it. I can't think of it, but kind of like almost spoken, like really soft, gentle spoken female lyrics. I think complements your style, kind of like that Kavinsky esque kind of production style. It's kind of like what I think of, synthwave-ish, but with like a little bit of a Daft Punk flair. I think this track reminded me a little bit of Daft Punk, actually. Some of their, slower works, the less funky ones. I think I have two primary thoughts that come to mind with this track, when it comes to my feedback here. And the first one is from like a writing standpoint, like a chord progression, harmonic kind of structure. So I know, roughly speaking, your chords are kind of like, so you got the E major 7. And this one is an interesting choice, the B flat minor. I think it definitely adds an interesting flair to the chord progression. I think a lot of, let's say, like traditional pop type stuff would probably opt for something like, something like that. But I think it's cool. Especially because I like kind of tritone movements in chords. So going up from that E to the B flat, it's just got a cool, it kind of hits you off guard a little bit. A part of me almost was hearing like a dominant chord there instead of minor. But it changes the emotional feel pretty significantly, so ignore that. I'm just, I don't know, sharing that for no particular reason. But anyways, so then obviously it changes from there. At times it feels like you're not entirely sure what chord you're playing, and there's only specific little moments where this happens, but some of the chord voicings, I would just go through your track and kind of double check to make sure that like everything's kosher there. It only happens in a few little instances, but sometimes the voicings get so like clustered that it feels a little confusing to hear. I'm not entirely sure what chord is being played at sometimes. But yeah, like I said, it's very rare. It doesn't happen that much. The other kind of like bucket of feedback I was going to throw out there is more like production, related to production. And I think that the kind of like lo-fi feel matches the vibe of the song really great. And so I would encourage you to stick with that and not, I'm not saying to abandon that direction. I think that works really well for you. It's cold. Does anybody know if the place we go still feels like home? And there's some sections where I'm getting a little sidetracked here. I was just re-listening to something. I think there's maybe some room for more ear candy. I think that's part of the reasons why when I heard this section, my instinct was to play some random embellishments and melodies on top of this. But I think in general there's room for just ear candy, little gentle little plucked arps kind of shimmering in the background, some little atmospheric things, some foley, just little things to kind of like appeal to, I guess, audiophiles like myself. Make of that what you will. But from a production standpoint too, I think there are just times where obviously lo-fi kind of drums and such, the intent isn't to be like super sharp sounding and punching through the mix and being audible on any possible device. But there are times where it still gets a little bit too muddy for my tastes. Like here, for example, that snare is definitely, it's got a little bit of some of those lower mids in the snare are conflicting a bit with the kick drum, in my opinion. And I don't think that that's as much of an issue earlier in the song. Yeah, it just gets like too muffled here. It might be a different sound altogether. So I would pay attention to that. Yeah, I think in general, something I've noted is that with a lot of your music, the vibe is there. I just think that it would be nice to see a little more attention to detail from a production standpoint. That's probably my biggest thing. But either way, I love it, and it's a good listen. So thank you for sharing. I'm French, so I know the French touch, I guess. Yeah, never thought of it from that perspective. But okay, let's move on to the next person. Thanks, Virtual. What's up? Why so cold? Good to see you here. I was hearing I don't know why I was hearing that fucking song. What is it called? Baby, I need you. Da, da, da. All right, enough of that. Let's see what you got. Why so cold? I roughly understand what I can and want to rework, but I also really like to hear your opinion. Cool. Let's check it out.
DJ
Lots of energy. Switch up. I do have some thoughts here. First of all, lots of energy, and I think that it's a catchy way to start the track. Yeah, got some, vocal chops, drums, a few little effects like those scratches and things right off the bat. So definitely catches your attention, and yeah. I was kind of caught off guard by the section right after the intro. There's like... In this section, it's definitely got like those old school bass house vibes. Like, makes me think of Jaws, makes me think of Abstract, makes me think of Joyride. All those people that were kind of like crushing it when bass house was popping off. That's what comes to my mind here. But anyways, I think that this section that comes like right after this, right here, here's a small recommendation. I think it's cool to kind of like foreshadow it like this. It almost feels like, wait a minute, are we just in the drop now? That's kind of how it feels for a brief moment. But here's what I would do. I would say, okay, so you have that first full measure, or sorry, two measures. And then after those two measures, switch back to two measures of like this intro style of beat where you take away all the low end. And that way you're kind of teasing a little bit more. You're kind of saying like, oh, here's a little taste of what's to come, and then you're kind of taking it away, and it's going to make the listeners kind of want to hear that much more. Or you're kind of creating some familiarity while teasing it at the same time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think that would be really cool. Same thing here. Like, I don't think there's a need for all those like extra... all that low end to be there that entire time, because it's still an intro, right? So you want to make sure not to feel like you're giving away too much. And then it goes straight into the build, which is fine. I think just taming some of the multi-band dynamics here would be helpful on this like bass sound. Just controlling those dynamics a little more, maybe reducing it in volume a tiny bit. And yeah, everything else is sounding good here. My biggest gripe with the drop, there's so much energy and there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I like that little dun 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 dun. I think that you clearly have like this A-B pattern going on, and I think I'm a sucker for those kind of drops. And, especially in bass house, like Joyride is kind of like he's somehow still, in my mind, the industry standard for how to do like A-B drops in bass house. Because like basically the vast majority of his drops are like that. It's always this call and response thing. And I'm a sucker for that. I feel like you're leaning just a tiny bit too much into these vocal chops though. So here, I'll show you what I mean. You see what I mean? You have like I think it's 6 measures straight of like these vocal chops being repeated over and over again, like dun 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 dun, and it kind of like I don't know, in my mind it's a little bit relying too much on the vocal chop to kind of communicate that energy in the drop. So if I were you, I would try to find other ways to make those call and response sections more energetic. I think it'd be really fun to like I'll give you a quick example. So you have the first 2 measures, which I think sound really good. And then right here, I think it would be nice to switch to something that's very low and focused. Something that kind of doesn't have as much of that kind of like presence in the like 4 to or like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6K range, whatever, that kind of area, and like do something that's like and then what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then measure 7 and 8 is where you can have the vocal chops go crazy. That's how I would do it. So I would have 2 measures of like the dun 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 motion, you know. Okay, so I can't beatbox for shit, but you get what I'm saying. In my mind, that structure makes a little more sense. But yeah, that's honestly like the only thing that caught my attention. I think the rest of it is sounding really good. I like the switch up here into this kind of like UKG type thing. It's always a nice way to keep the listener engaged. So, yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got, man. That's kind of like the major bit of feedback I have. So thanks for sharing. Some really cool ideas. Your tracks always have tons of energy. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next person. What's up, Alice and Alex? AAA. Are we getting some roadside assistance here, Alice and Alex? We might have to move on from roadside assistance here. We'll wait another 10 seconds, 15 seconds here to see if they join us, and and then we'll move on. If they come back in the chat with a track they want to share, that's totally fine too. But listen, we are running a tight schedule here, all right? We're not messing around. Oh, by the way, I was meant to say hello from my fiance to the chat, so she says hi. It's going to be date night for us tonight, so I'm on a schedule, gang. Let's move on here. All right, what's up, Rafa? What you got for us? Have you guys integrated your weighted FBF selection? No, not yet. I know that's something I keep thinking about every time we have Feedback Fridays. It does bum me out to not really have a better system. I wish I had more time to like improve a lot of stream related stuff, but it's yeah, it's not really an excuse. There's just a lot of stuff going on. But let's check this out. So this is Tick Tick, Doom remix by Rafa.
So much scripts you do here, niggas will never run out of shit.
Enjoy the roller coaster ride.
Multifaceted.
Yo, Walk the path of Jesus, witness and felt freezes. The mind teases, reality cracked to pieces. Nothing eases, being chastised with blood baptized. Dies, revives, acknowledge past lives. Statements will be made, acknowledge me. My mind is heaven's gate, so enter me. My mind's the gate to hell, so try to flee. Both gates look the same, which will it be? Demons scream from thought process. Enter semen, child born stress.
Spooky here.
Body want to sleep, but the mind can't rest. Measure pleasure through financial progress. When it comes to currency, love is non-existent. Foes modify, friends become so distant. Some hope we die, backstabbed in an instant. Foes I despise, disguise as allies. The sabotage camouflage, loyalty is lies. To see God look into my eyes. To see the devil, then you look into my eyes. Slow it up, speed it up. Metal fingers, speed beats, grim reaper, eat 'em up. Speed 'em up, slow 'em up. Speed it up, slow it up. Brain sick, tick, 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 MF, blow it up. Slow it up, speed it up, slow it up, speed it up. Metal fingers, speed beats, grim reaper,
The BPM switches are
speed it up, slow it up. Speed
frying
it
my
up,
brain.
slow it up. Brain sick, tick, 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 MF,
cool.
blow it up. Take air, press it, bless it. And it loops like Ku Klux. MF don't give two
Wait.
fucks. Nigga, quarterback, blitz, pop, quickly fumble, leave game with concussion, seeing stalls and mumbles. This happens to any MC that wants to rumble. Dynasties destroyed like Harringtons and Kobe's. Noise, reduce, MF, thinks and Dolby. Chop that ass in half like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Greatest of all time, God straight up told me. Greatest of all time, the devil even told me. Icicles on surfaces, son, we live in coldly. Profits being phony. Every attack, we switch like the Wu-Tang symbol. Still kill Jack, even though quick and nimble, plain and simple. Pick niggas off while they ballin', and die old like Stalin. Yes, death, I hear you calling, accept, collect. Human sacrifice must pay respect. We catch wreck, nigga, we catch wreck. And we gone. Slow it up, speed it up, slow it up, speed it up. Metal fingers, feet beats, grim reaper, eat it up. Speed it up, slow it up, speed it up, slow it up. Brain sick, tick, 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 MF, blow it up. Boom, MF, grim,
Do your homework.
Interesting. Is the original like that too? Does the BPM actually switch that much in the OG? That's really cool. Fun exercise for the drummer. Oh shit! I didn't mean to stop it.
あなた方はまだわからないのですか。このままでは
I don't blame your drummer for getting mad at you, man.
キングギド
I do
ラ
not.
のために死の星となります。
Programming something like this would be one thing, but playing it would be really, really, really difficult. I mean, even with the click track, I think it would be tough. It sounds like it's got like this there's like four different BPMs / patterns, like rhythmic patterns going on. There's kind of like the initial one. It's got like the very traditional hip hop feel, and then it kind of feels like the ground is kind of ripped out from beneath you when it slows down that much. It feels like, what? yeah, it's definitely going against expectations there. It's really cool. Actually, I think it's an interesting like experimental piece. I don't really know the original, like I said, so no idea what that sounds like. But a part of me would be curious to know what this would sound like, also with without all the rhythmic variation. Because without it, it would almost give me like copycat vibes a little bit, like the kind of old school hip hop vocals along with some beefy drums and some low ends. Like I got a brief glimpse into that in this section here.
Tick, tick, MF, blow it up, take air, press it, bless it, and loops like Ku Klux. MF don't give two fucks, nigga. Quarterback, blitz, pop, quickly fumble, leave game with concussion, seeing stalls and mumbles. This happens to any MC.
Yeah. Anyways, that being said, I'm trying to think of how to critique this. I don't really have much to say because it feels like it's very much its own thing. I would be curious to know what this would sound like if it was kind of being kind of like clipped and limited a bit more. Right now, it feels like it's not being like pushed that much volume wise, and I think a track like this, even if it's a bit experimental in nature, obviously the vibe is still kind of like I think it warrants maybe trying to push the loudness a bit more. I'd be curious to see if that changes the energy at all, if it makes it more I don't know, more upbeat, or just like gives it a little more oomph. But either way, thanks for sharing. It's an interesting piece. It's like definitely reminds you of a lot of these parameters that a lot of electronic producers, don't experiment with much, myself included. I can count on one hand how many times probably I've adjusted BPMs within the same session. There's really not many tracks where I've done that. So I think it's always cool when people are taking risks, and even if it's just for like, if it's not necessarily for a release, even if it's just to kind of like flex the brain a little bit. But either way, thanks for sharing. And I'm excited to work on Palette Cleanser on stream, by the way. It's like an etude. Yeah, literally what I was thinking as well. But yeah, I'll be working on Palette Cleanser probably on Sunday. So if you want to come hang out, then please do, Rafa. All right, let's move on. Sharks, what you got for us? What do you mean rigged? You've been here for centuries. Colors incoming. You never know. Don't judge a book by its cover. All right, what do we got here? Alice and Alex, I see your link. I'll get to it all right after this.
Faker.
Didn't really want to play too much over the first drop because really wanted to listen to what you got for us. Really sick tune. Love it. Also, I would say a little bit different from what I have heard from you before. Definitely got a lot of familiar sound design, I would say. But I like that you're always exploring new things. So I can appreciate that a lot. Really sick sound design, great mix. Arrangement is cool. I think it definitely caught me off guard. The intro, this kind of like more minimalistic, kind of like really chill, atmospheric 808 vibe is really cool. Part of me wonders if there's room for maybe a little bit of like some weird, tiny little granular, some gentle granular stuff going on in the intro. But I could see how, yeah. Obviously, you're taking a little bit more of a minimal approach here in the intro, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to do that, or wouldn't want too much else going on. We gotta do follow-up. I'm not gonna lie, I did have a lot of fun just like playing random ass chords on top of your drop as well. So see, I don't really produce super heavy music these days, but it was a lot of fun to do that. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I don't really have much feedback for you, especially not from like a production standpoint or a mixing standpoint. Some really cool stuff going on. I like the mix a lot, actually. And it's really satisfying. I think, yeah, I don't know. I ain't got nothing for you. What are you doing in here anyways? What kind of feedback are you expecting from me? I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing for you. But yeah, for sure. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for coming through. All right. So we had, excuse me. I had there was somebody from earlier who I missed, I think, right? Yeah, Alice and Alex. Here we go. Let's check this out. Tough to follow sharks, but see what you got. Very gentle. Yo, Sensational, thank you for the follow, and Retrovision, thank you for the follow. I like the piano melody. think I'm hearing my German brother virtual ride in the background there. Cool. I like it. I really appreciate the idea behind like your the elements you're combining are really nice. I think it's fun to have like some something that's a bit more like intimate and kind of like compositionally focused, combined with something a bit heavier as well. So I think it's ambitious and it's cool to kind of like try to combine those two things. I would say right now, the strengths are definitely more so in terms of the arrangement and the composing. I think are like definitely the two parts that are working the most in your favor. I think what's holding you back the most is probably your ability to mix and create sound design that's really merging those two worlds. Like right now, to me, it feels more like you have like this, for the most part, it feels to me like you have this, emotional, orchestral, and piano like piece that's composed. It's 4 minutes long, and then it feels a little bit like there's just like these loops that are kind of thrown in there, and it feels a little bit jarring at the moment. So my challenge to you, and I think like the biggest piece of feedback I would give you, is to work really hard on trying to merge these two worlds a bit more. So they feel very separate at the moment. They feel like they're kind of conflicting. And so there's a few different things I could recommend that might help. I'll start with just some random example. So you have these, you have this piano and string intro here. Everything's sounding great. Which, by the way, some of it could benefit maybe from some gentle reverb. It doesn't have to. Like the piano, for example, is very kind of like this gentle, like felt piano type sound. It's really up close and personal, and it really sounds like your freaking eardrum is inside of that piano. And it's gentle and nice, but some of the strings, those could use maybe just like a little bit of gentle reverb, because like when things fade out completely here, it sounds very dry, and it feels like it's not part of any particular world without any kind of reverb, so I think that could be helpful. But anyways, back to what I was gonna try to say in the beginning. So you have this drum section popping in here, right? And it's like, okay, cool. You're starting to like foreshadow this like 140 classic dubstep vibe. But it's missing some things. So first of all, I think going into this, knowing what kind of sounds you have, there's basically no indication that something with this, like with a lot more energy is coming, right? And so it catches you off guard, which is cool. But at the very least, I think a little bit of a drum fill here would be really cool. You know, something to at least ease the listener into that first downbeat would be really helpful. The other thing is this section feels really empty without a little bit of low end. There's no sub, there's nothing. I mean, it could even be like a cello doing the like B flat, A flat, G flat, F, and it could be just something super simple like that. But I really think you need some low end here to kind of help you start building up the tension. And if this is the route you're taking the listener, I think that's really important here. I'm kind of hearing just a consistent drone, not even anything that crazy. That doesn't have to be like anything very complicated. It can literally just be like a saturated sine wave, just gliding from one root note to the next, and that's totally fine. But then moving on, so here as well. So here, you have a similar issue where you have this. It sounds a little bit like a kind of like a pre-made like trap snare build thing that just pops out of nowhere. It doesn't really fit into the mix at the moment. So there's lots of quick ways to change that. You could just low pass it and have it slowly start revealing itself. There's a lot of ways to make sure that like it doesn't feel too abrasive to the listener. And this is going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, specifically with what you're doing, because you're going back and forth between these like more intimate or orchestral like piano things and then these heavier sections, right? So I mean, honestly, normally if your entire track is just brick walled, you don't have to think about dynamics in the same way as you do with something like this. So anyways, I think all these transitions, it's really important to try to put yourself in the shoes of the listener and be like, I think that would catch me off guard. And I would want it to kind of, to transition a little bit differently. So then that kind of leads me to the next section here. I really like the energy. I like that you have the staccato strings playing that melody. Like up high, sounds cool. You have these bass sounds, but my issue is that it still they feel really disconnected. They're not really kind of like part of the same world at the moment. So for example, you have the sub moving with the chord progression, but then you have this layer with the bass sounds that feels like it's staying in on one note. So it's a little bit confusing as a listener, because you would expect basically those bass sounds to match the notes of the sub. So you want those to be connected, and you may be better off. I mean, that wherever that's coming from, if you created that or if it's from a sample pack, I think it's serving a great purpose for like giving you direction and like having like the energy there. But I really think you need different sound design to be able to merge all these different things and have them kind of come together in a way that works a bit better. But it's really cool. I love the idea of kind of like this orchestral addition. A lot of dubstep is very much like 1 to 2 sounds at a time coming at you, right? Everything you're hearing often, not all the time, it's meant to be you're focusing on like kind of like one element at a time, and the drums are helping drive that energy home. And Kavai Tunes, thank you for the follow. And so I love hearing a more melodic approach to that. There's plenty of great melodic dubstep out there too. Plenty of dubstep that's like way more complicated than as I'm describing it, obviously. But what I'm getting at is that I think you just need to kind of marry these worlds a little bit more. And then also this section here is really cool too. That's an unexpected switch up. I think that the vocal feels maybe a little bit overplayed a tiny bit. I think it'd be cool to have it more as like a fill element here and there at the end of every like 4 measures maybe, or every 8 measures, having a pop in just to help kind of drive that energy home to the next downbeat. But either way, it's really cool. Lots of cool stuff going on, and I appreciate I appreciate what you're doing here. It's cool. So thanks for sharing. All right, let's move on to the next person. It's getting hot in here. What's up, Moogard? Didn't you just join? I swear this system is so rigged. People will hang out for hours in here and never get chosen. 'Cause you're in the room, I'll take it. Damn, I can't believe it's negative 5 bajillion degrees outside. And somehow this room is so toasty. It's toasty. All right. Let's see what you got, Moogard.
It's always the same, always the shame. Storytelling when I can come in. Going is trouble dying. So one more time, my answer sing. I swear I'll need no opens, but you better learn to read it. It's all about membership, yeah. Stepping for you and old, ugly girls and boys. I put you on my list and make this up this. Man, I'm just a nickel trail. And soon as you get through. Capital letters printed in gold, 'cause details make the girl sweat even more. What? No need to explain to feel it. Capital letters printed in gold, 'cause details make the girl sweat even more. What? Shaking it down.
Very interesting. Some cool stuff going on here. Lots of energy right off the bat. I will admit I'm a little confused by the vocal. I get the like it just like the texture of it. I think it's giving me like this impression of it's giving me, I get the feeling of like the vocal being there, but the notes that are being sung and the words are very unclear. It sounds like it's being sidechained or yeah, I'm not sure. There's definitely different effects happening at different times in the vocals, but it's kind of hard to make out what's going on there. I would say that right off the bat, like this section here is really cool. I liked that a lot. It's a cool way to start the song.
It's always the same, always the same.
Hold on.
Storytelling when I can come in. Going is trouble dying. One more time, my ancestors. I swear I'll meet no opens, but you better learn to read it. It's all about membership, yeah.
By the way, I really like the choice to make that bass like plucked here. Obviously, it's a bit more sustained in this section, and then having a kind of like toned down by plucking it there when the vocals pop in is a great decision. Yeah, I think that I'm having a hard time with the vocals. I think that they do add something to the track, but I'm not sold on like that being. Yeah, I'm not sold on that being the route you should go here. Kind of the vocals kind of remind me of man, who is that? Who am I thinking of? Who made the song Doses and Mimosas? I gotta look this up on Spotify now. Doses and Mimosas. Oh, Cherub. That's right. It's kind of giving me Cherub vibes for some reason, and I don't know that style of vocal is what I would have expected on this. Kind of like this kind of a song. Yeah, it's very unique. So like, you know, I'm not trying to like steer you away from specific things, you know. And I think it's really important that like when artists are clearly trying something that doesn't fit in any kind of neat categories, it's important not to like judge it based on some other standard or metric or something, you know. Everyone's on their own journey, but sometimes, you know, you can tell an artist is tapping into a specific genre or style, and that's okay too. But then it's easier to kind of judge it based on those criteria, right? And say like, oh, okay, well, a lot of other music in this genre sounds a little bit more like this, so this is what I would do. I can't think of a single reference that really that sounds similar to this in my mind. Like maybe like Justice, I don't know. I can't really think of anything. So I'm you know, not trying to like give too much feedback that will steer you away from what you're building, right? Yeah, I guess ignore the vocals then, and for now, I'm not too crazy about it. I would say the drums do sound a little bit muddy. I like the idea behind them.
It's always the same, always the same storytelling when
Like I definitely I get it. I feel I can see what it could sound like if it's a bit more polished. And if the vocal was not being ducked as much, and if it was maybe like performed a little differently, and maybe processed differently, I could definitely see it working. I feel it. I feel it. Like especially here, the vocals get a little bit like it's really a little bit like jumping all over the place. It's hard to hear even what notes are kind of being sung there, but one last thing I would say is that I think that the chords do get a little bit too adventurous here. It gets a little bit too. Either way, it's a really cool idea, man. So you know, if I'm owning in on things that you specifically like a lot about your sketch, then just ignore what I'm saying, you know. But yeah, I think like it could be cool to then go back into this section after, like right here at 132, will be kind of cool to go back into this section at 0.15. But either way, really unique stuff. Kind of Queen. Okay, yeah. I could see that. Yep. Was concerned the intro was too much. Concerned about the drums. Yeah, the intro isn't too much. I think that it's got good energy to it. So, all right, let's keep moving. Thanks for sharing, Moogard. What's up, Connected Beats? All right. Next raffle winner, Connected Beats. What do we got? What do we have? Wait, why is this? Oh, Band Lab. What is this? All right, let's check this out. Interesting. Tom Dune, you're still on the list right here. CB, absolutely. You can submit a rough mix. You can submit a finished song. Anything you would like us to listen to, give you feedback on. Yo, Simi, thank you for the follow. Cool. It kind of was giving me movie scene in a laboratory with scientists looking at things under microscopes and stuff like that. I don't know. Either way, really cool track. I enjoyed it. It's got a nice vibe to it. I think that it works well in the sense that it kind of has like this glitchy, very gentle, atmospheric vibe to it, with like this a little bit of a gentle like hip hop beat in the background, and I like it. You know, it definitely has a certain. It feels like it has a specific kind of like vibe and emotion throughout the entire thing, and yeah, it fits. It feels like it would fit very nicely, in I don't know, a scene from a show or a movie or something like that. Definitely getting like, you know, lab coat vibes for some reason. But either way, honestly, I don't really have much feedback to give you, because I feel like, from what I can tell, from what you've done, the intent isn't to, I don't know. From what I heard, you're staying very consistent with this specific vibe, and you're exploring that in, you know, very subtle ways, because that's kind of what fits this feeling that you're rolling with here. And, you know, I normally, you know, let's say if I'm working on music, you know, I would personally, one of the first things I always, or I often do is, you know, I rely on playing piano, and I think of, you know, melodies and fun ways to add new or weird chords to something, and, you know, things like that it doesn't feel like it's helpful to what you have here. So I just don't think I have any actual helpful feedback for you. So if I'm reading, you know, what you're setting out to do correctly, I feel like, you know, it's a success. It sounds like an experimental, emotional and like very like gentle and mysterious vibe, and that's the song, right? That's kind of how it feels to me. So I like it a lot. For some reason, I closed out of the little chat box here, so hopefully no mixed master issues. Well, it depends on like kind of like what standard you're judging that by, because you know, just strictly from like a listening standpoint, you know, I think on its own, it could become a bit repetitive of a piece to listen to, right? That's why I was kind of like using it as a reference for where I could see it making the most sense. Like, again, for some reason, my mind just went to kind of like a specific type of scene that maybe you'd see in a movie or a TV show. It feels like it's got this very consistent vibe throughout, and that's kind of what it evoked in my mind. So, you know, if I were to hear it pop up on like a Spotify weekly playlist or something, and I'm hearing it, I would enjoy it. But it also wouldn't necessarily leave me with much other than kind of like more of a vague feeling or emotion, right? There isn't really a lyric I'm remembering, or there isn't a particular melody, or a particular like moment with some sound design. There's some cool sound selection going on and such, but that would be maybe one criticism for a piece like this. Like, if that's unintentional, you want listeners to have something to latch onto beyond kind of like this vibe that you have going here, then that might be something to work on. But in terms of the mix and master, It is very gentle. It is a very gentle piece. It feels like maybe there's room to, I don't know, maybe push the envelope a little bit. I'd be curious to see what this sounds like if it's kind of like being pushed into a limiter a bit more, and how the mix might be adjusted if it's kind of like being beefed up a tiny bit. But yeah, in general, like, from listening from beginning to end, there's nothing that stood out to me as like problematic. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a non-issue from my perspective. So if you're saying mix, like, yeah, nothing stood out to me as like that was way too loud, or this is non-existent. This frequency range is a huge issue, or it's nothing like that. So it's a pleasant, chill, mysterious listening experience. So yeah, thanks for sharing. No glitches out of place. No, I felt that was good. All right, let's go on to the next person. We got about an hour left here. Haywyre, 2 things. You can click someone's name to see the chat history. Oh, sick. Okay, I didn't realize that. Thanks. Second thing, there's a baby redeem. Wait a minute, I didn't know. Did I just miss that completely? Let's listen to this track from Infowler, and then I'll grab Baby. It happened mid-song? Oh. Whoops. All right. All right, breakout.
You're now rocking with the best.
Cool. Lots of energy. Really, really cool. This is sick. I love the whole thing. Tons of really cool stuff going on here. It's I'm trying to figure out what to focus on. Lots of cool sound design. I love the vibe. It's definitely got like the complextra feel, but it's funky though. It's got like it's not just a lot of complextro I find is very one-dimensional, and I think there's a lot of cool a lot of like unique writing and sound design that I feel like I have not really heard much in complextro. Which, by the way, is it true that that's a term that Porter Robinson coined? I might be tripping out right now, but I swear that I just found out recently that there was some genre that Porter Robinson basically he coined the term. I'm pretty sure it was complextro, but I might be wrong. Anyways, so again, just gonna reiterate, I love everything I'm hearing here. Lots of cool stuff going on. There's actually a track I wrote with my friend Zeros years ago that is very similar to well, not very. It's like a little similar to this track. You'd probably get a kick out of it. It's a cool tune. We just never really were able to figure out a way to get it to the finish line. Excuse me. My biggest bit of feedback is, I mean, in general, the arrangement is really cool. There's lots of really sick stuff going on. I almost feel like there are times where I feel like you have multiple songs in here. And the reason I say that is because even though all of it fits together very nicely, some of the chord progressions and patterns feel different enough to not necessarily need to be all in one song. I'll try to give you some examples if I can. But let's see. Also, I love this vibe right off the bat. It's really sick. It's giving me kind of like I don't know why it gave me these like Linkin Park vibes or something with the scratching and like the breakbeat kind of thing.
You're now rocking with the best.
Okay, so let's start with that. First, quote unquote, drop is that kind of chord progression and motif. Right? And then we have our first switch up here already. So now we're in D. We're no longer in G. We're now kind of, the tonal center has just shifted to D minor. Okay, and now we're hit with another switch up, now in the new key of D. Something like that. You know, that rhythm is a big part of that switch up, right? Okay, so then that section feels like a reference back to the intro, which I like a lot. I'm not telling you to, or you guys. I don't know if you guys are a duo. I see there's two of you in this photo here. I definitely don't want to push you away from, doing as many switch ups as you're doing, but the way it reads to me is, I just genuinely feel like you have so much material packed into this 3.5 minutes. Like you could really take some of this stuff and separate it into an entire separate track. I'm not saying you should do that, but part of me feels like it's worth considering. It's worth thinking a little bit about, right? Because everything in the track works, right? So I'm not for as many switch ups as there are, it's always the writing is always really good, and a lot of the sound design is great, and lots of great fills and like things happening to keep your attention, and it all works, right? So I can tell there's a lot of time and effort being put into that, and like making all those switch ups pop off. But I don't know. I'm still tempted to stick by that and say that like you guys should really think about whether this is one song or multiple songs. Because hey, if this is your arrangement style, great. That's awesome, and it's super unique, and I'm sure that people will always be able to know if this is your writing when one of your tracks comes up, because having this many switch ups is like definitely not something you hear very often. But yeah, and then I love the BPM switch, the triplet thing here at the end is sick. I love triplet stuff in EDM, so a sucker for that. Hold on, let me double check what's happening here. Yeah, see, like, okay, here's another thing. It's like all of a sudden you got another sick chord progression and voice leading thing going on here. Like, that's sick. Something like that. Okay, anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Like, that's cool, but like, people are only going to hear this thing for whatever this is, like 20, 30 seconds or something. And part of me is like, that's a shame, because that's a catchy chord progression, that's cool production, and you could build a bigger song out of just that little thing alone. And another reason why I'm kind of harping on this point a little bit is like, when you have this many different sections, it becomes also harder to remember what the song is. Like, obviously it is, yeah, you could totally make the argument it's complex, Joe. I think that's for sure the best categorization I could think of. But like, we're at this point of the song, 2 minutes in, we're way past remembering the chord progressions from this beginning stuff, right? Like, I couldn't tell you right off the bat of my like what was going on here in the beginning, like in terms of sound design, chord progression. Like, that's sick. But yeah, so again, that's the really the only criticism I have is like, you guys, it feels to me like this feels like a I don't know if you guys listen to Space Laces at all, but like, you know, Voltage is kind of like this, maybe that's not the best reference. It's giving me a little bit of a mixtape vibe where it's like, okay, we're cutting between like multiple different songs, you know, very quickly. And yeah, so keep it as one track if you wish. I recommend thinking about treating some of these as separate ideas and fleshing them out in that way. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I think tons of cool stuff going on here, and yeah, I'm excited to see what else you guys do in the future. All right. Arrangement is definitely my fault because it's my biggest fear. The track is being boring. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. You guys got plenty of stuff going on, so that's really cool. Cool. Let's move on to the next person. Who else we got here? Opal. What's up? Is it time for the next album track? I'm not calling you out, by the way. I'm excited. Just yes. ... I love it. Let's check it out. Ooh, you got Fooney liking your stuff. That's cool. Vibe switch. Automatism, you're in the giveaway. I see your name here. Okay, I'm guessing this is leading into the next track on the album. I kind of understand how that goes. Okay, anyways, really cool track. I trying to think of what feedback I have for you here. I almost wonder if you have to have the drums that filtered. I understand like you're very gradually building into this moment here, which a few moments. What's up, Stargirl? Thank you for the follow. I understand, like, obviously you want to keep the impact for this. Which is it's really cool. It grabs your attention. But I think that judging by the fact that, you know, you have some just full out drum and bass here, I understand you're balancing kind of these like compositional you know, soundscaping writing approaches with electronic music and like stuff that's still like pretty dance friendly. Obviously this is although I don't know if that's drum and bass or something slightly different, but either way, obviously dance floor friendly. I think that walking that tightrope can be difficult when you're doing stuff that is a bit, let's say, out of the ordinary, and it's going to be challenging people, but it's still maybe intended on some level to be dance friendly. That's a really difficult balance to find, and so what I'm trying to think of my critique for you a little bit through that lens, because that's I just think it's worth considering based on what I've heard in this track. So it would have been cool maybe to have, like, for example, you know, at least like maybe the low end from a kick drum kind of like coming through here a little bit. It doesn't have to be like some really beefy kick drum. It could be something more acoustic. But just those little decisions, I think could help push you slightly more into one direction than another, right? And it could communicate a little more energy earlier on in the piece, and it's that much more likely, I think, to keep listeners that maybe are a little bit more focused on. It's a really small thing, I understand. And it would be a really small difference, but I'm just saying, like, little things like that can compound and help keep some listeners that maybe otherwise wouldn't have wanted to go on that long of a journey to get to something that felt like that was like dance friendly. But anyways, it's not like the most important thing to focus on. It's just like the listener or something like that. Saying it like that almost makes it sound like you know, I don't know. All those, I've been seeing a lot of memes about, like, you got to think of the shareholders, do everything you can for the shareholders. And you know, I'm not saying like everything has to be about appealing to a certain demographic or anything like that. Just trying to think about the decisions. What I'm just trying to interpret, like, your choices and how to give you feedback that feels relevant to what you made here. But yeah, anyways, I think like there's some cool writing going on here too. Lots of really emotional chord changes happening, which I like a lot. I also really like the snare here in this section. And I think it's cool to hear like a lot of the consistencies throughout your album. I feel like it's of course it's definitely experimental in nature. Lots of a big emphasis on taking the listener on a journey, catching them off guard. So those are all things I'm finding are very consistent in your work, and that's cool. I think that's important with how no matter how much variation you have in an album, there still needs to be some kind of common thread, and I can see those in all of your work. So yeah, it's really cool. Thanks for sharing, Opal. I don't know that I have too much else to share with this particular song. I think that lots of good stuff going on. I would have pushed it a little bit more in the direction of like trying to find more ways to introduce a little bit more energy and rhythm earlier, and then maybe also shortening this section here, because the impact is there, no doubt. I really enjoyed this transition into this kind of like from the orchestral vibe into this kind of like experimental fake out section. I almost feel like it could have been maybe like half as long personally, but it's not really some kind of make or break thing. It's just like a little personal note. But yeah, thanks for sharing. So really cool. Let's move on to the next. Noxel, what's going on? Fitting that we get to you at one point. Yes, Martin, that's me. No way. What's going on here? Am I missing something? Wait. Noxel's copy key is broken. I'll leave my spot to Benjamin. Oh, okay. You can't copy and paste anything? Okay. How about this? Well, never mind. I was going to say we'll wait for you to make something new on the spot right now. And I'll just sit here for a little bit. My girlfriend needs me. Okay. All right. Need to leave. No worries. I'll see you later. Thanks for swinging by, Noxel. All right, let's check out what Hex Benjamin has. Oh, he's already thrown the link in here. See you later. Cool.
Bees flipping all white. Woo. I push the button to the roof out of sight. And my dogs got the crippets on sight. And my dogs got the crippets on point. I got two up in the front, I got like two in the back. I got too many options, know what to do with it, man. I don't slide, I don't dance with a tool in my pants. If I slip the ball, fuck, I'm killing you and your friends. Got my beats flipping all white. I push the button to the roof out of sight. And my dogs got the crippets on sight. And my dogs got the
Is that our boy Fiddy in the background?
beats flipping all white. I push the button to the roof out of sight. My dogs got the crippets on.
Cool.
You ain't no hero, you a punk, you a pussy and a bitch. I can feel it in my lungs. 02 Chevy Brand staring in the front, bumping boy band, and then you can hear it in the trunk like. Once boy band drop, probably hear it in a month. Drop PM, won't start hearing it a bunch. If I die, I'ma
We're going double time. Okay, cool. Lots of cool stuff going on here. Obviously the piano was not in the track. I was just kind of noodling. Canoodling. I think I really like your sound selection. Lots of cool stuff going on. I like the kick and the clap. And a lot of the sound design. I don't know the original Brevin Kim. Never heard of them before, but I did hear my boy 50 Cent in the background somewhere. The track in general has a good arrangement. You're kind of starting off with a focus on the vocals, which is obviously like an homage to the OG. It's a remix, clearly. So, like that is a really strong start to the track. Feels like a slowed down version of what's that damn genre called? What is it? Dude, I can't remember. It was like this. It was like this really particular style of music that was like all over TikTok for like a couple of years or something. I can't remember the name of it, but either way, it's really catchy. The mixdown kind of reminds me a little bit. It's like really sharp and clean. Got like a little bit of an Oliver feel to it almost in the beginning. What's that song by Oliver? Oliver Knight something? No. Oliver what is that track? I'm just gonna super quickly try to find it. It's an old one. Oh yeah, it's from this is it 90s on My Mind? Feels a little bit like that, right? Yeah, really sharp, really clean. The vocals work well with it. So this progresses super nicely, I think. My biggest gripe, I think, with the drop here, because there's a lot of good sound design happening here, and the momentum leads pretty naturally into this section here. Like, to me, it feels like you have this fake out for that first measure, right? I almost want that rhythm to just keep going, like. Like, I think it would be cool to have maybe a something simpler to latch onto, because basically the approach you take here is a bit more maximalist, just in terms of like introducing a lot of different patches and rhythms, which is really cool. It adds a bigger level of like unpredictability and randomness in there to hear a lot of switch ups and things happening. My feeling is that this section would make a little bit more sense to me because it's kind of like, I don't know, in my mind, a lot of I don't have specific songs that are coming to mind right now in terms of like a reference for how to transition into a drop that's like similar to this. I can't think of anything, but my hunch is telling me that I would personally prefer to hear a more simple repeated pattern for the drop section versus like a lot of these patches it's alternating through. So yeah, that's kind of like the main gripe I have with it. But regardless,
You ain't no hero, you a punk, you a pussy and a bitch. I can feel it in my lungs. Oh, two Chevy Brand staring in the front, bumping boy band, and then you can hear it in the trunk like. Once boy band drop, right here in a month. Drop PM, we'll start hearing it a bunch. If I die, I'm
I also like the switch up too. It's nice.
Those with the crickets on.
And I have the same kind of critique for this section just because the writing is basically the same aside from the fact that it's double time, or however you want to phrase it. Like the switch up with it being like 4 to the floor instead is great. I just think that I would still rather have like a little chunk or section that's kind of repeating a more memorable riff, I guess. But yeah, anyways, that's all I got, man. This is super catchy. There's some really, really great stuff going on in here. I love the sound design. I really like that kick and the clap is super clean.
I push the button to the roof out of sight. And my dogs got the crickets on sight. And my dogs got the crickets on. I got 2 up in the front, I got like 2.
50 Cent reference is kind of jokes. But anyways, yeah, thanks for sharing. What's up, Wavebite? What's going on? All right, we got 20 minutes left, gang. So we'll see how many more we can get through here. Hex, I'm going to take you off since we just listened to one of your tracks. And let's choose the next winner. What's up, Chairbor? Only fitting that we would listen to one of your tracks before the stream is over. I still got to get Baby. Oh my gosh, I forgot. How many people left in the queue? That's a good question. It says 29 entries here, but a bunch of them have already gone through. So, I don't know, maybe like 15, something like that. Question for you guys before I listen to this. I know some of you have been to quite a few of these feedback streams now, so I'm just curious if do you guys feel like I'm spending too much time giving feedback on tracks that are being submitted, or sometimes I feel like I'm going into too much detail and it's like it prevents other people from getting their songs picked. But then again, like I don't want to give superficial thoughts either. I want to actually like yeah, I don't know, just something to think about. If you guys have any thoughts on that, I'm all ears. But for now, let's you like the detail? Okay, all right. This is the first one I've been to, but I think the amount is fine. Cool. All right, well, let's keep it going then. What's up, Chairbor? Let's listen to this. Posthuman.
Get
right, where are we going?
Cause it's time to get back.
Very sick. Classic chairboard. Yeah, you could blindfold me and I'd be able to tell you this is the chairboard. What is happening? All right, another drop.
It's time to get back.
Thanks for the follow me at Soda. Word. Okay. What the? Okay. Lots of cool stuff going on there. That reminds me of like those little tidbits Space Laces used to include at the end of his tracks. I feel like he stopped doing that, but man, that shit would always make me laugh. Okay, anyways, so I gotta hand it to you, man. I feel like you do have a very unique unique style. It tends to be high energy, 4 to the floor stuff, and it's very heavy, but with some like color based sound design in there, and that's quite interesting. I don't hear much. I don't really hear much stuff like that, if at all. You know, I think color based tends to be halftime. You know, I don't hear much 4 to the floor color-based sound design, and especially not in like this particular style. You do a lot of edits, you know, and a lot of fills, a lot of fake outs, a lot of switch ups, and I think that this song is for the first half, it was the closest I think I felt you've gotten to getting the right balance between like fills and staying in the pocket. Because it can be really, really satisfying to hear a track that's taking a lot of risks but knows how to stay in the pocket and like make sure that the core groove is still there. And there are a lot of times in the first half where I really felt like you were hitting that. You were like so close to like basically nailing it perfectly on the head, and from my perspective at least. So really cool stuff going on here. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like so many people are submitting like some of their best material today. But yeah. So let's dive into some feedback, because or some constructive criticism, as others might call it. Like I felt that the first half, really up until this section, was really well done. I mean, those like drum hits were maybe a little chaotic, but moving on. Very ADD, but like in a way it's cool, and it's very unique. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's like genuinely very interesting. Yeah, it's not much music out there like this, but yeah, it's still like a few percentage points off, I think, from being it's still a bit too edity for me. Like it's a little bit too many fake outs and fills. I kind of wish there was still some kind of motif or something that was more consistent throughout, aside from just, you know, the energy, the 4 to the floor kick and snare, obviously, and a lot of the it's a lot of cool sound design, a lot of cool stuff that's going on. I love all of it. High energy, high octane, cool sounds. But yeah, I just wish there was like a little bit more of a like common thread in these drops. So let me go to the second one here again for a moment. At points, it kind of made me think a little bit of Space Laces, actually, the sound design wise. Like, I'm not sure if that's an inspiration for you, but I could see the influence if it is. Not because of the color base at all, but more some other stuff, like some of the vocals, some of the other like heavier sound design things, like these lasers and a lot of little transient kind of the blips and stuff like that. I hear that a lot in Space Laces tracks. Also, that fill is pretty cool. I like that. So anyways, yeah, the first half of the song I feel like works quite well, and it's got a good arrangement. It kind of lost me a little bit in this section, as interesting as it is. I get the idea of like trying to work with some more negative space, like using silence to fake out listeners and stuff like that. It's a little bit too unstructured, I guess. And there's not much in terms of like, there's not much for the listener to really latch themselves onto, to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is like the main pattern, or the main melody, or the main riff, or something like that. It's just kind of like a little bit too all over the place for me. But that being said, you know, it's possible that like if it were kind of like tamed a little bit and foreshadowed more. That's the thing too. Is that like I don't think there's much foreshadowing for this section happening here. Well, you do have that sound. Like I think that little color based weird kind of glitchy bling 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 bling, you know, that could be in the background. I don't know, like maybe there's more ways to like foreshadow what's going to happen here, and that could help as well. But right now this feels a little too all over the place and random for me. Are those kicks like slightly off grid, by the way? It sounds like the track suddenly goes a little bit off grid there, which is kind of trippy. I was just curious about that. But either way, yeah, I mean it's a cool tune, man. Like your drums, I can recognize your drum kit alone from a mile away. And I recognize your fills. You've got a lot of those kind of like the scratching fills, stuff like that. And like I love that stuff. And it's a lot of cool stuff going on. I really appreciate your style. I think that it's for my taste a little bit too chaotic, but I really like it. They're on grid. Okay. Never mind. All right, we got time for maybe one more here, y'all. And then it is the end of Feedback Friday for today. So let's check this out. Wavebite, what's going on? You shall be our final track for the day. Okay, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, you're welcome. And you know, I try to do my best to like. I'm always gonna be honest about how I feel about tracks. I'm not gonna, you know, try to mince my words. But obviously, you know, yeah. There's like barely ever been any music submitted where I genuinely felt like I couldn't get into it or I couldn't like see the vision, you know? I don't know. I can't even think of a single time where that's happened. Like pretty much everything I hear, even if like I feel like there's things that are missing or really need a lot of work, there's never really been anything where I'm like, I can't get into this or I can't see the vision. So do with that what you will. Wait, are people really using the word clanker? Is that a real thing? Wavebite, I don't know what happened to you, but we might have to skip you here. All right, 10 more seconds, and then we'll see who we're going to roll into. Might be AFK. Timetism Redemption Swing. Let's see what we got. Who's it going to be? Oh, damn. Cabal Tunes, what's up? You got something for us to listen to? Oh, we had the link within a freaking microsecond. Look at that. I'm sorry, Timetism. This happens sometimes. We'll get a better system going, trust me. This is In My Arms by Cabal.
I wanna hold you in my arms. I wanna feel your
wish you could have stayed. I wanna hold you in my arms. I wanna feel your heartbeat. I miss you every day. So I wish you could have stayed. I wanna hold you in my arms. I wanna feel your heartbeat. I miss you every day. So I wish you could have stayed.
Yo, thank you for the sub, Polaris and the follow. Sick. Thanks for sharing that, Kaval. Really cool tune.
Gotta do follow up.
And yeah, I think you got a great tune here. Lots of good emotional energy, a little bit angsty. I think there's room maybe for a little bit of ear candy here and there.
Subscribe.
Yo, what's up, in Fowler? Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. I think that there's just some moments here and there where like, on Hype Train to wrap up the stream. There's little moments where there's room for just like little embellishments, like not so much during the drop, more in the in between sections, like the intro and that little bridge. Maybe just some little ear candy, like tiny flourishes. The other thing I was gonna say, I think it's a cool idea to add the vocal in the second half, or sorry, the second drop. I think that for it to fit a bit better, the drop is obviously like hitting those. Yo, Eccentric, thank you so much for gifting that sub. Really appreciate it. Oh, to Sharks, let's go. So you're hitting those quarter notes. So the thing is, your drums, your bass, your sub, like everything is pretty hard locked on that grid. So what is going on right now? The hell? Joelitis, thank you for gifting another sub. Hell yeah. Let's go. So okay, what I was trying to say is everything is super on grid, but the vocal is not. So I think it could be really good potentially to have another take of the vocal, maybe specifically for the drop that is much more in time. It's not something that is very noticeable when it happens before the drop, like the first time.
I wanna hold you in my arms. I wanna feel your heartbeat sound.
You know, it's not really noticeable there, and it doesn't really matter because you're not really hearing this kind of metronome like drum counting 1, 2, 3, 4 out for you. So it works totally fine there, and it's actually kind of cool maybe in a way that it's not like super quantized or really on the grid. But I think for that section where the vocals are over the drop, you might want to consider doing that. So anyways, y'all, that's it for me for today. And thank you so much for hanging out and sending me your tunes that you're working on. Lots of cool stuff. I feel like there's some really sick tunes today. People are stepping it up. Let's go. But yep, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I got a date night on my hands, so you know how it is. I gotta get ready. I gotta shave. I'm looking like a hermit, hoodlum. So yeah, I gotta freshen up and get ready. So that's it for me for today, y'all. Thanks again, and I'll see you on Sunday if you want to hang out. And yeah, that's it. Peace.